so welcome to this session in our English tutorials, and this is the crown of it all. We're going to work in on the exercises, on everything we've learned so far in our lessons. Okay, so for this first one, we're going to be dealing with comprehension and summary exercises. So we're going to learn how to answer comprehension questions faster, and the best technique that I can advise you to use. So let's get right to it. So the advice I would give for a passage, like this is the passage you picked out, okay? So the advice I will give you when you see a comprehension passage anywhere for any exam whatsoever, go through the questions first. Go through the questions first. Look at the options. Know what they want you to answer. Then when you come back to the passage, you'll be able to know, okay, this is the answer of what they asked me for. This is the answer of so-so question. This is the answer of this. You're able to highlight it and you note it down so that when you go back to the questions, you'll be able to know which is the particular answer for that question. So, seeing the passage, now let us breeze through all the questions we have, okay? Now, for the first question, we have, according to the passage, the moralist idea is that, according to the passage, the moralist idea is that it is typically African not to smoke cigarettes. B, people should accept a point of view only when they are convinced. C, smoking is not good, but a little alcohol may be permitted. D, smoking of cigarettes is bad and unacceptable. Note that question. What is the moralist idea according to the passage? For the next question, we have the view expressed by the writer in the last paragraph is that. So now you have to take note of the last paragraph in that passage because they need an answer from them. So let us look at the options they provided. The number of alcoholics and smokers is certainly increasing. B, more people now abstain from drinking and smoking. C, more people appear to take to drinking and smoking. D, the sales of alcohol and tobacco products have improved tremendously. So note the question, we are looking for the view of the writer in the last paragraph. For the next question, we have, it can be concluded from the passage that morality, religion, and economy are A, clearly interconnected, B, certainly different, C, somewhat interconnected, D, certainly unrelated. So now we're going to be looking for the relationship between the morality, religion, and economy in the passage. You do not know what it means, right? You do not know what it's about. We're going to find out when we read the passage together. So we're going to look at the connection between all of them, if they are different, if they are together, or if they are, somewhat related. The next question is, which of the following statements is true according to the passage? Which of the following statements is true according to the passage? The first one says, people who drink and smoke surely die of cancer. B, everyone ignores the morality view on drinking and smoking. C, smoking and drinking may have positive effect on the economy. D, total abstinence from drinking and smoking is a religious obligation. So we're going to find out which of this is true according to the passage because they have given us so many options on which we should pick. The last question we have to look at before we go to our passage is, the positions maintained by the moralists and the economists can be described as being what? At variance, very agreeable, quite indifferent, or very passionate. Okay, so we're going to look at the positions maintained by the moralists and the economists, and we'll be looking at relationship between them. So now let's move to our passage. So as reading, you have to read with me as well. We'll do this so that you have proper understanding on how to answer the questions. We have taken a peep into the questions, so now we're going to go into the passage to pick out the answers as quick as possible. All right, your time starts now. Attitudes towards the smoking of cigarettes and the consumption of alcohol may be used to illustrate typical African ethics. Apart from the fact that smoking has now been linked with lung cancer disease, the African moralist has always regarded smoking as an indication of moral degradation. A number of people have accepted the moralist idea on smoking. Some have refrained from smoking, and those who could influence others, such as parents and religious leaders, have also exerted their influence to prevent others from smoking. On the other hand, a good many people have remained indifferent to the moralist view and have continued to smoke. The same argument has been applied to the consumption of alcohol. The African moralist, basing his judgment on the behavior of a few alcoholics, tends to regard the habit of taking alcohol as a sign of wretchedness. The moralist holds the view that anybody who forms the habit of consuming alcohol will never do well in life. While this may be true in respect of a few people in the society, the fear of the moralist has not been justified. However, the economist is primarily interested in the habits of smoking and the consumption of alcohol in so far as they give satisfaction to smokers and drinkers and so generate supply of and demand for tobacco and alcohol. The economist is interested in knowing how many packets of cigarettes are consumed and to what extent an increase or fall in consumption can affect production, that is, supply. Similarly, he is interested in how much beer is consumed and how the supply of beer will adjust to the demand for it. He examines the habits and the pressures which can lead to the readjustment of wants and the reallocation of resources to cover the wants. Some moral principles associated with religion tend to lead on to economic problems. Followers of certain religions are expected not to consume pork, take alcohol, or smoke tobacco. Devotees of some religious groups, on the other hand, can eat pork, while others are expected to abstain from alcohol and smoking. Strict observance of these moral rules could cripple the breweries, the cigarette factories, and some businesses. However, there seems to be a growing number of alcohol consumers and cigarette smokers, a development which should be of interest to the economists. Note the last paragraph because that is one of our questions. However, there seems to be a growing number of alcohol consumers and cigarette smokers, a development which should be of interest to the economists. So now let's go back to our questions. First one is, the position maintained by the moralist and the economist can be described as being what? From the passage we could see that the economist is basically concerned about the economic effects of smoking and drinking, the consumption of alcohol and the consumption of cigarettes, the demand for it and the supply for it. That is what the economist is basically concerned about. But the moralist is saying that anybody who smokes or drinks will never amount to anything in life. Whatever they do, anything, as long as they're smoking and they're drinking, is a sign of moral degradation in the society. It has to be stopped. People have to desist from it, and they influence people to stop smoking and drinking. So now, knowing the two different ideas, what do you think will be the answer? Is it at variance? Is it very agreeable? Is it quite indifferent? No, the moralists are not indifferent about it. They have their standpoint. Very passionate? Well, the economists are not very passionate about it. They just want to know the statistics, analysis of everything. So I would say the answer surely is at variance, because the moralists want everybody to stop smoking and drinking, but the economics want people to go ahead with smoking and drinking because they want to see how supply affects demand. And if as you can see from the passage, they said that if everybody has a strict adherence to the religious obligation of not smoking and not drinking, that will have an adverse effect on the economy. Okay, you can see that. So it is saying that the stopping of smoking and drinking will affect the economy. The economists want it to continue, and it's going to be of interest if people continue, if there's an increase in number, and the moralists want smoking and drinking to decline completely. So the answer is that their views and their positions are at variance. The next question is, which of the following statements is true according to the passage? People who drink and smoke surely die of cancer. It says that there has been an increase in cancer, in lung cancer rate. It causes lung cancer in some people. It doesn't mean that they will surely die of it, so that's not true. Everyone ignores the moralist view on drinking and smoking. Not everyone ignores it. Some people have stopped, some people just ignore it, some people teach others to stop. So it's not everyone that has ignored it. So that is not true of the passage. Smoking and drinking may have positive effect on the economy. Total abstinence from drinking and smoking is a religious obligation. So which of this is true according to the passage? It is smoking and drinking may have positive effects on the economy, because it was noted that if people smoke, if people stop smoking, people stop drinking, it will have a negative effect on the economy. It will affect breweries, it will affect cigarette factories, it's going to also affect businesses. So automatically it means that smoking and drinking may have positive effects on the economy. Alright, so the next question is, it can be concluded from the passage that morality, religion and economy are what? So we've seen morality as the moral standpoint, that smoking and drinking, and they took an example of few people who did not turn out well in life because they smoke and they drink, to say that they don't turn out well, they are always related or synonymous with wretchedness. So we have the religion also, which is making it an obligation that their members or their devotees do not smoke and drink. Alright, the economy also is saying that smoking and drinking has negative and positive effect in the economy. The high rate of it, the low rate of it has an effect on the economy. So what do you think is the connection between these three? Clearly interconnected, certainly indifferent, somewhat interconnected, or certainly unrelated. So we're going to see the answer, and the answer is somewhat interconnected. Why is it somewhat interconnected? Because the rise and fall in the consumption of cigarettes and alcohol is going to affect the economy, which the economist is very, very concerned about. If people listen to the moralists, if people listen to the religious obligations and adhere to it, it's of concern to the economy. So all of this is related. The economy, not the economist, okay? So we can say the economy has something to lose and to gain from whatever effect of the moralist or the religion. So it's somewhat interconnected. All right? So the next question is, the view expressed by the writer in the last paragraph is, I told you to watch out for that, the number of alcoholics and smokers is certainly increasing. Is that it? More people now abstain from drinking and smoking. No, that's not it. More people appear to take to drinking and smoking. Is that it? Sales of alcohol and tobacco products have improved tremendously. I cannot remember this passage saying the D option. So what is the answer? The answer is more people appear to take to drinking and smoking. From the last paragraph, it says that there seems to be an increase. That is the phrase that is present in the passage. There seems to be an increase. So he's saying more people appear to take to drinking and smoking, which the economists should be interested in. So that's the answer, appear. The last question we have here is, according to the passage, the moralist idea is that it is typically African not to smoke cigarettes. No, it's not. People should accept a point of view only when they are convinced. Smoking is not good, but a little alcohol may be permitted. No, the smoking of cigarettes is bad and unacceptable according to the moralist idea. They do not even want smoking of cigarettes and even drinking at all. Okay, so now the answer is the smoking of cigarettes is bad and unacceptable. That's the answer. And with that, I hope you've learned the technique of how to answer comprehension questions fast and easy, because you have limited time to answer a lot of questions. So read the questions first, then go back to the passage, then pick out your answers from the passage so you can quickly come back and answer them again. So in our next video, we're going to be dealing more on passages.